Hesitation is death. Well, now I'm just mad. So I go.
Cool, cool.
Alrighty. Sorry for the delay, everyone. I am LoveDi. I am going to be solo casting this Phoenix League Series today. We had a little bit of technical difficulty starting up this stream, but we're glad to finally bring you guys into the action. We're going to have Bring Back Dominion taking on the eGirl Fanboys in a best of 3 series today on the Phoenix League. Also, a quick announcement for everyone. We are going to have one emergency sub on the side of Bring Back Dominion. Their AD carry has been replaced by Rito Gods Please. Going to need to pray that they're going to still have the same synergy that they had in the previous weeks. Also, another small announcement. Reaver is apparently using his secondary account for this game due to having a little bit of trouble with Johnny Law on his original account. Remember, guys, don't be toxic. Don't put GG easy. Stay honorable. You get skins for it now. So getting right into the game, we can see that 3 bans have gone down for both teams. Going to assume that that Aatrox ban is going to be the placeholder ban for the emergency sub. Xayah has been locked in for the first pick for Bring Back Dominion, deciding to give pick priority to their upcoming AD carry sub. On the other side, we have Rakan and Orianna being picked up, already starting the Wombo combo comp for the eGirl Fanboys. Next, Warwick has been locked in with a quick Victor to lock in as well. The counter pick considered for the mid lane against the Orianna. I'm here to have fun, deciding to bring up a new champion. Has not been played much recently. We've seen a couple teams decide to pick it up, like Cloud9 and Samsung, still believing the Victor has what it takes to duke it out with one of the queens of mid lane. Next, we have the Caitlyn actually managing to make it through the first banning phase, finally getting picked up in the second rotation for the eGirl Fanboys. Now we're getting into the second phase of the bans, and I'm going to take a moment to discuss some of the bans that have already come out. We can see multiple top lane bans: Fiora, Camille, and Shen now off the table. Rek'Sai and Zac have been banned away as well, considered some of the strongest initiation junglers in the game right now. We can see that Bring Back Dominion has decided to go for the Warwick, in case that might be banned away in the second phase as well. Still want some kind of clear initiation tools for this team composition. Nami has been banned away, with the support not yet being picked up on the side of Bring Back Dominion.
Learn from your mistakes.
Riven being banned away, a specific targeted ban towards Qatar. He is a Masters tier top laner. Definitely want to consider that when thinking about the potential matchup between these two. Overall, we're going to assume we're going to be having some higher quality games today. Despite there only being one E-sub, I do expect to see a lot of synergy between these two teams. Sona has been banned away as well. 2 support bans now against Rainbows. They really want to try and close that pool, banning away a couple of the more mage-type supports. Final ban is going to most likely be coming down now, unless I was wrong and that Aatrox was in fact the target ban.
Weak-willed fools.
And with Elise being banned away, that's going to finish out our banning phase. Now getting into the second phase of the champion select. Still need to select a couple more picks for both teams to finish out these compositions. Right now, what I want to see from the eGirl Fanboys is some kind of frontline to kind of give a delivery ball system for the Rakan and Orianna, kind of give some extra follow-up. Nunu's going to be locked in to counterpick this Warwick. Warwick isn't exactly the fastest clearer in the world, and they fully believe on the side of the eGirl Fanboys that they can take full advantage of that, sending in the Nunu to counter jungle to keep tabs on the enemy Warwick. Next lock-in, looks like we're going to be having the Jarvan, most likely. Oh, last second swap to the Sejuani instead. With Warwick already being locked in, there's a good chance we might go full Echo Fox and have this Sejuani go into the support role. Going to be interesting to see how that works out. Or we can just keep flexing things around. It might be a Sejuani top lane. Soraka being hovered right now. Just going to wait a few more seconds. We can talk about a couple more of the bans that went through with Elise, Zac, and Rek'Sai being off the table. We're not going to have nearly as strong of a early pressure in this game with the Warwick and the Nunu, not exactly known for their strong level 2, level 3 ganks. Without being finally locked in, we're going to have, I assume, a Jarvan versus Sejuani in the top lane, or a Rakan in the top lane maybe? They're still swapping around right now. Sejuani is going to be headed for the top lane, and there's going to be a little bit of swapping back and forth. I've been informed that the eGirl Fanboys have actually been known to flex that Rakan in the top lane before. I just really hope I'm not getting trolled, but you never know. I do know that in solo queue across a couple of different regions, Rakan's been experimented with a little bit. He does have fantastic playmaking potential, really good initiation tools, and being able to get extra tanky from the extra gold you get from a solo lane definitely helps complement that. We're timing down right now, last 10 seconds. If they're going to swap, now is going to be the time. For everyone who is watching, thank you for coming into the stream. This is a best of 3 for the Phoenix League. Bring Back Dominion versus eGirl Fanboys. And those have been locked in. We are going to have Rakan in the support role. And we're going to have the Jarvan versus Sejuani matchup in the top lane. Now we're going to have to wait for that spectator delay to kick in. And in the meantime, you can chill here and relax with me while I try to analyze these compositions, their strengths and weaknesses, and we try to figure out what the win conditions are for these teams. Let's start with Bring Back Dominion. They do have the unorthodox picks in the solo lanes. Victor has fallen out of favor in the last few months, although he has been picked up here or there. Definitely considered a decent counter pick into more of the mage type support, or mage type supporty kind of mid laners like Orianna might be. Not a lot of oppressive laning that would go on here to take advantage of the fact Victor needs his first back before he really gets that effective wave clear with the upgraded death ray. On the top side of the map though, Sejuani is kind of in that category of top lane tanks like Nautilus and Gragas, the top laners that do kind of want to just farm safely, get some items, get the 1 item power spike, 2 item power spike, and then come back very strong, very tanky. And Jarvan might be able to take advantage of this. It's going to be interesting to see how he utilizes his trading potential, because important to keep in mind that frost armor on the Sejuani means he can't just mindlessly poke with Q, just not going to be very effective against the huge boost in armor and MR she gets early on before the poke begins. In the jungle matchup, we can see Warwick versus Nunu. Not exactly the 2 fastest junglers in the world clear-wise, but very effective at moving around the map. The blood scent that Warwick can utilize is matched by the blood boil on Nunu, and these 2 champions can definitely roam around, constantly be in different position. Going to be very hard to track overall, as they're most likely going to utilize that movement speed to get some rotations early off in the game and hopefully mind game the other jungler. In the bottom lane, to finish off these compositions, we can see Xayah Lulu, very strong all-in potential, kind of a pseudo Kog'Maw Lulu composition with the way the feather interaction and the attack speed buffs work as well. Who's trying to message me right now? Please don't try to, oh, no, okay. Please don't message me while I'm trying to stream, man. And then Caitlyn Rakan in the bottom lane. Caitlyn considered the strongest ADC right now, oppressive-wise, in laning. The mid game has kind of been shut down a little bit, and that being her main weakness with the way Static Shiv now interacts with AD carries in general. It's considered a very strong item. Most Caitlyn's have decided to pick it up over the Hurricane since the nerfs, so that kind of helps lead her along that mid game, that shaky mid game. Along with having 3 supports, essentially, she's not going to have too much trouble scaling up to get those items. We're going to be loading into the game now, and that's time for me to shut off the music, try and figure out how to swap the screens. And hopefully I have everyone on the right side of the screen as well. Loading up into the game now, we get to see the masteries and runes that these two teams have selected for themselves. Going to assume some pretty standard setups for both teams. I don't expect anything out of the ordinary. Loading up into the game now. Finally have the loading screen coming into this screen. Sejuani is going to be opting for the Courage of the Colossus in the top lane. Very wise choice. She has multiple tools to really proc that, get the shielding she needs for those frontline team fights. We have no fervor of battles in this game. We're going to have warlords for both AD carries. Actually, there is a fervor of battle for the Warwick. He does want to be doing a lot of auto attacking. He gets the buff as well once he's fighting those lower HP targets. In the bottom lane, as I mentioned, the double warlords for both the Caitlyn and the Xayah. They do want to kind of get that sustain going. I apologize ahead of time for the viewers. I don't exactly have the full layout ready to go. Don't have those blocks kind of blocking the timeline and the target frame, but that's alright. We can probably make it work anyway, and I'll be switching to the action screen every time we have team fights beginning. In the meantime, though, you will have to bear with me. As we can see, the lineup is starting to form. Line of scrimmage being established at the river per usual. Going to be interesting to see which of these camps these two junglers decide to start. The trinket has already been dropped down on the side of Nunu. Do I have the right sides? Nope. I'm going to have to swap the teams around. Give me one moment. Alright, that's been fixed up and we should finally be ready to go. We can see it looks like the bottom lane for Bring Back Dominion are going to be leashing for this Raptor start for the Warwick. Warwick isn't exactly the fastest multi-clear as a jungler. He doesn't have any real AoE tools until he gets that Tiamat completed. But with a little bit of help from his bottom lane, he should be just dandy trying to get that early level 2 with the smaller Raptors. We can see some trading already happening in the mid lane back and forth. The Q start for the Victor allows him to get 2 versions of Harass off. There's the Frost armor being broken in the top lane. Like I mentioned before, the poke is going to be very important for this lane. A little bit back and forth once again. The Deathfire touch for the Victor has been acquired for I'm Here to Have Fun. That's another thing. There's actually a lot of variety with how Victor is built now. Since the changes, there hasn't really been a consensus on what mid laners like to take for that Victor. Some go for the Storm Raiders. They like the mobility, the playmaking potential. Thunderlord's already a staple, as you well know. For most mid lane mages, they like the burst. But I'm Here to Have Fun has opted for the Deathfire touch. Likes that little bit of extra damage, a little bit of trading back and forth. Q going to land onto the Lulu, a little bit of poke. Level 2 are ready for the Caitlyn. They do manage to get a little bit of the better of the trade because of that Courage of the Colossus helping out with the health pool for the Rakan. But they're going to be getting out just fine. 1 potion already being popped for the Rakan. We do see a Doran shield start as well for the Xayah. She has opted to go into this matchup specifically. And with the Doran shield, hopefully you manage to sustain through the early oppressive laning from this Caitlyn. In the mid lane, we can see a little bit of a shove going on from the Orianna. Some trading back and forth once again. They definitely do like getting that trading in between their waves. shoves happening in all 3 lanes on the side of the eGirl Fanboys right now. All 3 lanes pushing. This is what Nunu really excels in and really thrives in as an environment. When he has all his lanes pushing, he knows that he can invade either side of the jungle and just really keep track of where that Warwick might be running to next. Looks like they're going to pass right next to each other in the top side of the river. Some more trading going back and forth. Looks like in favor of the Orianna. A little bit of a tussle over the Scuttle Crab. It's going to be going over to the Warwick. Already got the level advantage due to that early Raptor take. A lot of damage on the side of the Sejuani, but we have our first gank of the game coming in the top lane. Sejuani goes in, low HP and low Lana. Oh, she's going to go down. That's the flash onto the Jarvan. Jarvan's going to be getting first blood, and now he's running to the bottom side of the river, trying to get some help from his Nunu in time. He goes back in for the EQ. Here comes the snowball, the flash. The W might keep him alive, but red buff is going to take him down. Nunu does manage to smack the hell out of Warwick in return, though, and that's going to be a 1-for-2 trade with Warwick managing to go down as well. Nunu refreshing his buffs, getting that level 4 that he wanted as well. Overall, going to be a positive trade on the side of the eGirl Fanboys. Now we can see a little bit more trading going back and forth between the mid lane and the bottom lane. Victor is already dangerously low on mana, and he's going to have to back away very early on. He's going to have the teleport, however, available to him. Something, again, that has been pointed out with how much variety this Victor has. He can take the Ghost, the Heal, the Exhaust, but he opted for the teleport this time. He likes the idea of perhaps maybe a 1-3-1 in the future, or having the potential to clear a wave and not really worry about being away from the rest of his team. He's going to use that teleport now to get back to the mid lane. We can see in the bottom lane already that CS deficit already taking shape slightly. A bit more trading back and forth. Rakan goes out to ward, and Caitlyn takes a bit of damage in return. Lots of trading back and forth. A lover's quarrel between Rakan and Xayah right now. Lulu and Rakan both half HP as well. Neither really choosing to back away quite yet. Still quite comfortable with that 3 potion pool they have available to them. We can see that the Tiamat has been the first buy for the Jarvan. A nice cancel on the Dragon Flag by Roxas means that he's going to get a little bit of that trade back. But with that Corrupting Potion on the side of the Jarvan, he's going to be able to heal a little bit better. Oh, we might have an all-in the mid lane. Ignite goes down, the flash afterwards to get out of the gravity field, and that's going to be a kill solo for the Orianna. Wonder Ginger shows up and takes advantage of this Victor's early laning phase. Some more trading back and forth. Rakan goes in for a little bit of a trade on his own. Both teams are starting to run low on mana for their supports. Going to be interesting to see whether they choose to continue this trend of aggressive trading, or if they decide to hold off and conserve their resources for a better time. Warwick's going to be backing in the Rift Herald pit right now. Looks like he doesn't want to go for that top lane gank despite the lane being shoved in. He wants to get his early Tiamat. He has bought the Red Smite as well. Wants that dueling potential and the extra damage and damage reduction that comes with it. We can see that the Dragon has been soloed out by the Nunu as well. It's a Cloud Drake, not exactly effective on its own, but still, it's a Dragon nonetheless, and it helps you keep the pace of the game with multiple lanes shoving and winning. A very easy take despite it dealing a lot of damage. That's going to be the missed knock-up on the side of Rakan. He gets polymorphed in return. A little bit of trading back and forth. The headshot goes onto the Lulu, but she's going to be just fine. Teleport's coming in right now to kind of counteract this Warwick gank. He's still only level 5, no infinite duress available yet. A little bit more aggressive on back and forth. A lot of trades back and forth. Here comes the Shockwave going to land. There's no flash for the Victor. He's going to get solo killed. Meanwhile, the 3v3 in the bottom lane goes in the favor of the eGirl Fanboys as well. Warwick going to get taken down. No flash available yet, and that kill is going to get donated over to the Caitlyn. Nunu has free roam now to invade this bottom side of the map with both the jungler dead and the mid laner dead. Caitlyn's still shoving in this bottom lane as well. He gets free reign of whatever camps he wants and whatever vision control he wants, and he's going to take that enemy red buff for himself. In the top lane, we can see that shove is still going on. Sejuani's already definitely behind in gold efficiency-wise. Having a Doran shield, boots, and cloth armor only to her name, she's not going to have a fun time trying to scale up. We can see Nunu's posturing towards the bottom side of the map. That Lulu dangerously low. The flash from the Rakan as well. The knockup goes in. No chance for her to flash himself. The heal's not going to do enough. Warwick coming for the counter gank now. He's focusing on the Rakan first. No flash available. He's going to be going down to the red smite, but the ultimate from the Nunu is going to chunk them heavily low. One kill going to Caitlyn, the other one going to the Nunu. That's still a 1-for-3 trade and more pressure onto this bottom tower, even more pushing power to this Caitlyn. The blood boil is going to be on her as well. Looks like they might be trying to rush this very early on. The red buff, of course, helping with that push as well. I don't know if they're going to be able to get it in this wave. They're going to back off, but they're still hard pushing. They know there's no TP for the Victor, no TP for the Sejuani, and they're going to take full advantage of it. But Sejuani's level 7, and she's right behind the Orianna. No cleanse available, so she's going to be going right down to the burst, taken down without a problem. Textbook gank. Just a little bit of over-aggression while the rest of her team is focused elsewhere. Some trading back and forth. Rakan manages to slink away really undamaged due to his passive shield. But with that, we have a little bit of a gain back on the side of Bring Back the Minion. They do manage to get a kill on the board for their Victor. They want him to start scaling up, get that Hex core completed as soon as possible. Meanwhile, we have another lane shoving. Jarvan has taken full advantage of the fact Sejuani was in the mid lane, chunked that tower to less than half HP, and now he's back to trading with the Sejuani. A nice little bit of chunk of HP as well. With that Frost armor not available, the trading is definitely going to go in the favor of the Jarvan with just how big of an item deficit this currently is in the top lane. Bottom lane being shoved away. Look at the vision control that the red team has already managed to establish. The eGirl Fanboys have wards all over the bottom side of the jungle. They do have some vision wards established as well. On the top side of the map, we have a gank coming down right now. Infinite Duress comes in, but Jarvan decides to flag and drag in as well. Cataclysm goes in. Nunu flows for the flash ulti into the Cataclysm. Going to flash away in the last moments. Warwick's going to be going down, wasting his flash instead. There's a flash available for Sejuani. She's most likely going to have to use it. One more smack and a snowball might be able to do it, but he's not going to be able to fully commit. That's going to be 3 flashes blown and a kill for eGirl Fanboys, managing to turn it around with a very impressive counter gank at the perfect time. Now we can see that Nunu and Jarvan are trying to push for this first brick gold. Sejuani's forced to back away. She's way too low. No resources available. First tower gold going to be going over solo to the Jarvan. A nice little 650 gold boost for him, going to help him rush that Titanic Hydra even faster now. And we see an invade is coming in as well. Nunu going to be able to donate this blue buff over to his mid laner. Nope, he takes it for himself, but Warwick's running in for the 1v3, getting a little greedy. He procs the fear onto 2. He's got the red smite. He's got a 1-for-1 before going down to the Orianna. A little bit questionable, but maybe he just really felt the need to try and get something back for everything they're losing across the map. A little bit of a questionable trade, but some over-aggression definitely couldn't hurt to try and bring back Dominion back into this game. We can see that the tower pushing is continuing in the bottom lane as well. A little bit of trading back and forth. Ultimate from the Xayah goes down, but in return, Rakan's going to charm them both. The Q's going to miss. Here comes a flash from the Victor over the wall. Chaos Storm does land, take down the Victor real quick. Looks like Caitlyn's going to be able to get away from the increased movement speed from the heal, but here comes the Jarvan TP. Immediately flag and drags the Lulu through the exhaust, manages to burst her through and get away just fine. No more CC available for the side of Bring Back Dominion. An even 1-for-1 trade in the bottom lane, continuing to shove now for the Caitlyn. She backs away a little bit afraid of this Warwick that's now showing himself in the bottom side of the map. But meanwhile, Nunu continuing to make pressure plays all over the place, manages to solo the Rift Herald after soloing the Drake earlier this game. He's got a Rift Herald available now to try and fast push another lane available to him. We can see he's walking over to the bottom side of the map now, maybe wanting to pick up this Drake that's going to be coming very soon. Orianna in the mid lane is going to be staying despite her being low on mana. With the Xayah forced to back away, Caitlyn is going to be able to solo take that tower as well in the bottom lane. Now only one outer tower remaining on the side of Bring Back Dominion. They do give over the blue buff to the Orianna, Jarvan being the helpful friend he is, and leashing that for her. In the meantime, 4 are going to be taking this Infernal Drake away. No chance for a steal. The Smite Consume is just a little too strong at this point in the game. Lulu, the only one even close enough to see it happening. Now we've got 5 collecting for the mid lane. That Rift Herald still well available for the Nunu. He decides to channel it, and we're going to start having a siege in the mid lane. Xayah and Sejuani are moving their ways up now to try and stop this push coming in. No damage onto the side of the Rift Herald. They managed to destroy the tower just in time, so they're going to have a full chunk on this tower. That's half of it gone, but they're engaging onto the Warwick now. He got caught out trying to come and help defend. That's going to be 1 kill going over. The Rift Herald still sieging. 2-man Shockwave into the Cataclysm. Going to kill 2 immediately. Victor and Lulu going down. The Gravity Field catches out the Jarvan. He's going to die to tower aggro, but the Rift Herald is still pushing. Tower goes down. Here comes another initiation. No flash for the Sejuani. Means she's a dead pig. Now it's just up to the Xayah to keep defending with the rest of her team dead at the outer tower. They're going to keep on pushing. They've got the creep wave for it. They've got the men for it. They've got 3 more minions, a little bit of damage onto the Xayah, but she's doing her best to defend. Looks like the rest of eGirl Fanboys are going to be backing away. Orianna covering their tracks with that W movement speed buff. Nunu going to be taking his time, trying to establish a little more vision control around the bottom side of the map before he backs away. We can see Warwick is now on the move. He does have that blood scent available. He's got a ton of movement speed. The red smite and the infinite duress do not land. He's still trying to go for the 1-for-1 trade, though. He's still getting very aggressive. The rest of his team is coming back, but I don't know if he's going to be saved in time. Here comes the Hugify from the Lulu. The flash is wasted away, but they do manage to kill the Nunu in return. Now they've got 4 in the mid lane ready to start their own counter push with Sejuani closely behind. Caitlyn's in the bottom lane farming a wave right now. No mana, and she's not going to get anywhere close in time. Jarvan's the only one available to stop this push. We might have some tower trading happening back and forth. We got Orianna and Rakan now on their way back to the mid lane, going to see if they're going to have enough time. Jarvan's posturing right now. He manages to queue the entire wave. Some nice wave clear means that the rest of Bring Back Dominion are forced to back away. I do like some of the rotations that Bring Back Dominion have managed to accomplish in this last minute. Normally that over-aggression we see from Reaver, Snow Bolakels? Snoll. I will call him Snoll or Reaver in the future because that is way too hard a name to pronounce. But normally that aggression that you see from Reaver on the Warwick usually gets him killed. But this time he has the backup from his team available to him. They managed to throw in a little bit of womboing of their own. They managed to get a pick and some tower chipping damage along with the outer tower for the mid lane, helping them get on the board for tower kills. Now we see we've got 5 members of the eGirl Fanboys posturing on the top side of the map. They want to start this siege now. We have the Victor recalling now. Warwick is in Fountain, so this is a 3v5 defend. No teleport on the side of Victor either. We can see Rakan wants to go in. They only managed to catch out the Sejuani so far, but that might be enough to pressure the rest of Bring Back Dominion off of this top tower. They're going to be taking it just fine. They use 3 ults in return. Looks like they're a little hesitant to completely back off, but no, they're going to back away. Just going to claim this blue buff for themselves. And going to be the Orianna that gets that donated to her. They back away after establishing a little bit more vision control. And something to point out in the meantime, look at all this vision control that they have in the top side of the map. That's 5-6 wards on the side of eGirl Fanboys just for this top side of the jungle. They knew there would be no chance to be flanked when they go for that tier 2 siege, so they felt very comfortable going for the dive. They managed to catch out the rest of Bring Back the Dominion off guard with that aggression that they displayed. Now we can see that we've got 4 on the bottom side of the map. Again, trying to move to defend are the rest of Bring Back Dominion. A huge chunk of damage from the Orianna onto the Lulu, already brought to less than half HP from a single QW, plus Thunderlords. A little bit of trading back and forth. Sejuani wants to try and get her E-proc off. We can see the blood scent has been activated for Warwick. He's got that movement speed ready to go. They see the Jarvan in the mid lane. They might try to go for something while Jarvan is preoccupied. The speed up from the Lulu onto the Sejuani, but it looks like they're just going to match the mid lane 1-for-1. A lot more chunking onto the Lulu. She's getting heavily damaged just from that Orianna poke. We can see Jarvan kind of posturing to the bottom side, but he decides to go back mid lane, reset this wave, see if he can get a little bit of pressure on that inhib turret in the mid lane. He's going to run right into Warwick. A little bit of trading back and forth. The red smite is going down. That means Warwick is committed. The Sejuani ultimate's going to slow down the rest of the team from coming in. But here comes the Cataclysm with the Rakan coming in for backup. A lot of damage is going to be going down. Xayah ulti and Victor ulti is going to be shredding through a lot of the eGirl fanboys. Lulu comes back just in time from the fountain to give that hugify over to the Xayah, but she's going to get traded on back in return. The flash is negated by the exhaust at the last second. Here comes the ultimate. Looks like Xayah is going to be able to tank it just in time. Both of them blinking health bars. Victor's a little bit healthier, but not by much. He's going to be forced to defend this mid inhibitor siege now coming in from the Orianna. She's the only one left alive that's still some sorts of healthy. 15 seconds on the dragon respawning as well. That's going to be an eventual 2-for-3 trade, but it's actually in favor of Bring Back the Minion. They wound up getting the better of that team fight because with the Xayah, the Lulu, and the Victor, that's just a lot of tools that they can really utilize in those those small corridors, those shallow ones, and they really managed to take full advantage of that. And since this is still pretty early on in the game, despite it being accelerated and only 19 minutes in, there's not a lot of tankiness left on the side of eGirl fanboys. We have the double HP bruiser items that's become standard on the Jarvan, but he really doesn't have any tank stats. A lot of damage going onto the Nunu. That Deathfire touch definitely being felt. Smite Consume is going to confirm that Infernal Drake, however. Jarvan does manage to get away. He was trying to flank to maybe see if he could go for something, but with Orianna not there, they don't want to opt for that 4v5. Bring Back the Minion is forced to slink away after a failed attempt to contest that Drake. Now we're going back to a little bit of a reset. Caitlyn is posturing in the bottom side of the map, starting to start that push now. The rest of the team is in the middle lane, trying to shove this wave in so they can establish some vision control in the top side. Some control wards are being placed down for both teams. Initiation from the Jarvan. She's going straight for the Lulu, knows that there's no flash. The Hugify goes onto the Sejuani and not on herself. That's going to be Lulu going down right away. Rakan with the follow-up. Here comes the Sejuani ulted, but the Nunu ult is coming back in return. Infinite Duress is going to land onto the Jarvan. That's a 3-man shockwave in return. Warwick is going to go down. Jarvan gets picked up by the red smite. Caitlyn's going to get soloed out double lift style by the Victor. What are you doing alone right there? But now Victor's going to get caught out in return. Gets taken down by the balls from Wonder Ginger. Going to be a 4-for-2 trade in the end, this time in favor of the eGirl fanboys. They managed to get the catch out first. They know there's no summoner spells available. Looks like they're going to be going for a very cheeky Baron start though. I know they got the tankiness for it, but I don't know if they have the damage. Nunu's going to be tanking it up right now. It looks like they're going to be able to get this uncontested. Lulu's kind of hanging around the edges, but she's not going to be anywhere close. And with Smite Consume available, that's going to be a secured Baron on the side of the eGirl fanboys 21 minutes in. And with a quick double check, looks like both Caitlyn and Jarvan were alive for that Baron buff as well, which means we're going to have a full roster, all with this Baron buff available. Lulu laughing in the mid lane. A little bit on the crazy side on the laughter scale, but that's alright, Lulu. We all love you the same. So now with this Baron buff team and this 11,000 gold lead on the side of eGirl fanboys, looks like they're going to be moving for the 0-4-1 split push. They've got priority in the mid lane. They're now heading down to meet their Jarvan, maybe take out this last inner tower of the game. Jarvan's already started the push. Lulu's going to be the first to arrive there, but we know how that works out. Lulu's going to just get instantly blown up. The ace in the hole doesn't even have enough time to channel. She's just going to get taken down right away, and we can see that maybe that pinch in the champion pool for support in the second banning phase is working out. Oh, actually, that's a huge wombo combo. 3-man shockwave. That's the only one not getting caught out is the Victor, but in return, they all run into the gravity field. A lot of AoE going back and forth. Rakan still tanking the tower. They wind up only getting the Warwick in exchange for both their mid laner and their jungler, but now there's some blinking health bars on the side of Bring Back the Minion. Xayah, the only one still really healthy at half HP, but of course with the Caitlyn and the Trundle Traps? Yordle Traps. Caitlyn with the Yordle Traps, very potent sieging tool. We can see the teleport has been used questioningly by the Jarvan in the top lane. he decided he would, instead of using his Baron recall and home guards to get to top lane, he wants to start that push now despite having no resources. So he really just teleported for a couple waves top lane. But when you have 13,000 gold over your opponents, you can probably afford to do things like that and not really worry about it. Maybe he wanted to get that last little bit of extra gold. They knew the bottom lane was clear, they knew the bottom jungle was clear, and he needed a little bit of extra gold for that, what is this called? Gargoyle Stone Plate, right. For all the extra MR. As I mentioned earlier, he's got a lot of HP from his first 2 items, but not a lot of resistances, and the new item, Gargoyle Stone Plate, will definitely help with that. We can see some pushing happening in the mid lane now. Rakan going to try and contest this blue buff take, but Warwick's is just going to be able to chomp on it just fine. The rest of the team is moving along towards the mid lane now. Jarvan leading the head of the siege. They're going to be taking this tower extremely low. Sejuani ulti is going to be going down right before the tower goes down, though. That's a 4-man shockwave into the Cataclysm, into the Rakan knockup. They're all trapped inside the Cataclysm. They're all going to be going down. That's already 3 kills onto the side of eGirl Fanboys. Victor's forced to flash away, but a few more autos is going to take him down. The Caitlyn range taking full advantage of that. There's still 3 alive, and they're going to be taking this middle inhibitor. They've got a little bit of time left on their Baron buff as well, so it looks like they're going to stay and continue pushing. 15 seconds on the next respawn for the side of Bring Back Dominion. Only Lulu's going to be able to defend for now. That Baron buffed creep wave has a cannon wave, though. The Baron buff is finally going to go away, but they've started their push onto these Nexus towers. The first Nexus tower is going to fall. They're still hammering onto the second one. Warwick has respawned. Xayah has respawned. They're still committing to it. Here comes Xayah coming in. Lulu is on the other side. Sejuani is coming in now. Warwick is still in his fountain. What's going on? Jarvan's going to be going extremely low, but one more auto after the flash means he secures game 1 for the eGirl Fanboys. Definitely an action-packed game, extremely quick for how that game actually felt. It was going accelerated very quickly at the 10-minute mark. A lot of tower pushing, a lot of aggression from both teams. Lulu getting caught out a couple times were really the Cataclysm, pun very much intended, for how the eGirl Fanboys could really push their advantage. Now we're going to be getting back into the client, and we're going to take a quick look at the charts for both teams before we head back into Music Simulator 2017 and Loading Screen Simulator 2017. So looking at a few of the different statistics for this game, we can see that Victor, with his Deathfire touch, once he gets that Hex Core available, he definitely is still very strong, manages to land a lot of poke, but in the end that poke didn't really matter because even in the all-ins they won, they really couldn't get much for it. We can see the second place in total damage dealt was, of course, the Caitlyn, one of the strongest AD carries right now in the meta, and it really showed this game. Once she got her item spikes rolling, she was basically winning all of laning phase. A smooth transition in the mid-game due to her solo laners managing to get ahead early on as well. We can, of course, look in the tank stat as well. And let's look at damage taken, kind of look at how the tanks did as well. You want to always congratulate the tanks for a job well done as well. We can see that Warwick, with his damage reduction, has managed to edge out as the #1 damage taker this game, but again, that might just be because he was a little over aggressive at times and was punished for it. Nunu right behind him, of course, with those buffs to Nunu repeatedly, both indirect and direct, over the last couple months. Nunu has become a monster in the jungle. Tons of free stats, tons of free buffs for the rest of his team. And Jarvan lagging slightly behind in third place. Of course, with that HP Bruiser build, he can certainly take quite a beating as well. And that's going to be it for the analysis for Game 1. As we get into Game 2 Champion Select, I'll talk about some of the things that I'd like to see both teams either improve on or continue to do as we get into that game. But for now, we will be right back.
Connected.